If 2025 is not the year of Jack Quaid, then I am not an extremely popular YouTuber with a huge following. Oh, oops. So how does Huey from The Boys handle an action, comedy, romance movie? Let's discuss Novocaine. Novocaine is a movie that seems to be following in the footsteps of films like John Wick, Nobody, Love Hurts, only it's leaning more into the comedy side of things. It stars Jack Quaid, Amber Midthunder, which by the way is an awesome name, I absolutely love it, Ray Nicholson, who was great in this film, Jacob Batalon, who we all basically know as Peter Parker's best friend from the Tom Holland Spider-Man movies, and others. Sorry others, I know it sucks to not get a direct mention, I definitely know the feeling. It's about a guy who has a health condition that allows him to not feel any pain, and he uses this ability as he goes on a quest to save a woman who he fell in love with who was kidnapped during a bank robbery. One thing is for sure, they have been pushing this movie hard for months. I mean, I go to the movies pretty regularly, at least once a week because of this channel, of course, and I have been seeing this trailer so much, I am just looking forward to this movie finally coming out so I can stop seeing this trailer. But as for this movie, well, let's just say Jack Quaid, he's effortlessly easy to enjoy. He has that same exact charming, cute energy that he brings to Huey on The Boys, and he does a very good job in this film. As a matter of fact, I think he is perfect for this film because this is not supposed to be just a copy of John Wick. This movie is supposed to have heart, and Jack Quaid, he really does know how to sell that quite well. And it should be no surprise at all that his time on The Boys has helped him get ready for some major action scenes because he does quite well with the action scenes in this movie. The fight choreography really seems quite solid, and there is some genuinely entertaining and funny fights in this film, particularly with this big dude that we saw in the trailer. All you have to do is take one look at this guy to know that this is going to be a brutal fight. I mean, just look at those arms. They're massive. Amber Midthunder, still an awesome name, does a fantastic job playing the love interest. She seems legitimately fun to spend time with, and it's in no small part to Amber bringing her A-game to this role. And she does get a lot of really fun scenes to play with, especially towards the later half of this movie when she gets to interact with Ray Nicholson. Those two have some very entertaining chemistry, but let's not downplay her and Jack Quaid's chemistry. I mean, we're supposed to be following this relationship. That's what's supposed to be pulling us in, and I do think that it is a very cute relationship. I was getting into it. I was feeling excited to see Jack Quaid smiling and to see this woman bringing something positive to this guy's life who you can tell hasn't really had much going on. The early scenes in this film set the tone for the rest of this movie, which is both cute and cute. Ray Nicholson clearly had a lot of fun bringing this character to life. He's menacing, he's funny, he has a lot of qualities from his famous dad, Jack. I couldn't help but try my best to see Jack Nicholson when I was watching him in this film. Not because he pales in comparison to Jack, but because I didn't really grow up watching young Jack Nicholson. When I was born, Jack Nicholson was already kind of old, so I never really got to see younger Jack Nicholson in movies before. I mean, at least at the time where it wasn't considered a classic. Watching Ray Nicholson, I get the vibes that I imagine people were feeling when they were seeing young Jack Nicholson in movies, and I think he's got it. I think this guy is going to have a very solid career, much like his father. I don't know if he wants to get as big as that, but he really could because he does a great job in this movie. Jacob Batalon basically plays the comic relief in this film. It's not exactly a stretch for him. We've all seen him do basically this exact same role in the Tom Holland Spider-Man movies, so I can't really say that this movie offers him much of anything unique. He does well. He does exactly what he's supposed to do. He does what we've expected to see him do from previous efforts, but he doesn't really get anything meaty to play with. I think the director does a mostly solid job setting up this film. It starts out feeling like a cute romantic comedy and then quickly becomes an action comedy. It's definitely smooth flowing for the first 2/3 of this film. But in the later parts of the film, I'd say the last third of this film, it starts to drag a bit. The comedy starts to feel forced and the novel novelty just started to wear off for me. It kind of felt like they had this really strong momentum. They were going and going, and then they just got to this point where they're like, well, we're not ready to roll the credits yet, so we're gonna stall right here. We're gonna show the audience some more of this stuff, and that just, it let me down. It's kind of like the case of taking way too long to reach the punchline of the joke, and by the time you get to that punchline, well, people probably aren't even laughing anymore because your delivery sucked. And I'm not saying that this movie's delivery sucked. I enjoyed the first part of this movie. I had some genuine shock. I had some surprise. I was really into these characters, and I did enjoy most of these performances. I think everybody in this movie does a solid job, so I'm not really bashing this movie for, you know, for things like that. It's just for not being too original and dragging out a bit too much by the end. I think this is a solid enough popcorn flick, and it's going to entertain a lot of different people. My audience, I will say, they did seem like they were enjoying it for the most part. I was definitely hearing people giggling and laughing. You know, you could tell that people were invested in this story, and I was for the most part. I just felt like the longer it took to get to those end credits, the more they kept pushing more fight scenes. Like, okay, one more fight scene. Well, my joy started to just diminish. So for those reasons, my score for this movie is 6.5 out of 10. I think that it's worth seeing. I don't know if you need to see it in cinemas. It's something that you could probably wait and see when it's streaming. I think everybody did a great job, and I think that they should all be quite proud. It's just probably the editing. They needed to make some choices to cut out some of the stuff or tighten up that script just a bit. That's my thoughts on this movie. Let me know what you guys think of this movie, and please, if you liked this video, go ahead and hit the like button so that I can know that you liked it. And if you want to hear more from me, then subscribe to this channel. Later.